few different things I want to talk about in this video. First, starting off with Letitia's husband, Keith. They just recently celebrated their anniversary together. Letitia's been posting with him, and it seems like things are going well. And then somebody posted in a Quad City, Iowa Facebook group, and they know Letitia, and they ended up posting a picture of Keith allegedly with another female. She said, "Ain't this that lady who on Love After Lockup sitting around scamming everyone? I know this ain't your man. You just posted saying it's y'all anniversary. Baby, he was out with another woman." She claimed that this woman she saw is not Letitia. When I did share this on Instagram, there was conflicting opinions. Some people thought that this was Letitia in this picture, and it does kind of look like Letitia on the side, but I did send this picture to a few people who have spent some significant time with Letitia in person and asked them if they thought this was Letitia, and both of them told me no. And the woman who spotted Keith seems to think this isn't Letitia, but I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Keith's with another woman here? Do you guys think that looks like Letitia? Let me know in the comments below. It definitely seems like whoever he's with, that this is not Letitia, that he's definitely a little too close and personal for comfort if he is a married man. Someone else that has spent a significant amount of time around Letitia in person was like, that girl in the picture with him doesn't even look black like Letitia. And then they shared a picture of Keith and Letitia, and you can see that they're close to the same height. And I went and looked at several pictures, and this is correct. Like, they're literally like maybe an inch or two apart from each other, but they're really close to the same height. And in this picture with this girl, you can tell she's at least probably a good 6 inches shorter than him. And now I want to talk about Michael and Joey. Joey walks into his hotel room as Michael's on the other phone talking about how uptight Joey is. And he was on the phone, I guess, with one of his old drug buddies he used to hang out with. And Joey's like, "Well, who was that?" And he's like, "I can't remember the name." But Joey was like, "Is this a good influence or bad influence?" And Michael's like, "Yeah, bad." And he just thinks it's like one big game or joke to him. He's not taking anything seriously. Joey was like, "Well, you know, we still have a few hours. What do you want to do?" And Michael was like, "I just want to go get my car and go back to the halfway house so I can just finish moving my stuff in. And I just want to sit there and go to sleep for the night." And Joey's like, okay. And he's kind of upset because he still hasn't been intimate with Michael this whole time. You've just done years in prison. You claim you're a sexual person, and you're not worried about getting the D as soon as you get out of prison. That just tells me either he's not that into Joey and he's trying to prolong it. And I think that he was probably being intimate with people in prison. That's why he's not in any rush. Or I feel like he's hitting up his buddies and he's trying to find one of his buddies to get high and get freaky with, because he's just tired of being sober. If he's going to be intimate, he wants to be intimate high and with somebody else that's high, I feel like, in my opinion. And that's all he's seeking out. That's all he can think about. Like, he don't give a damn about nothing else. He just wants to fast forward to the point where he's sitting there high as hell. Dude probably didn't even make it 2 steps out of prison before he was plotting on how he was going to get high. And so Joey gets in the car, takes him to his mom's house to get his car. And in the car, Joey's like, "Do you really think it's a good idea for you to go hang out with your friend that you used to use with? Don't you think that's going to be a bad influence for you and you could possibly go back to using?" For Joey, this is a huge concern for him. He sees this as being life or death for Michael. But Michael is just being so nonchalant about everything. He's like, you know, I'm going to use. A relapse is not the end of the world. And that already tells me, like, how messed up his thinking is. And really, it's the drug user deep down in him talking, trying to convince himself that it's not the worst thing in the world. Because if he was going to stay sober, then he would see the relapse as life and death like Joey sees it, but he's just sitting here minimizing the situation so he doesn't feel as bad when it does happen. I think this is just a defense mechanism against shame and guilt, and I think he's trying to reduce the fear associated with the possibility of a relapse for Joey. So he's trying to set this up for Joey, so once he does relapse, Joey won't be as disappointed or shocked. But I mean, come on, no matter how much you try to prepare him for it, Joey's still going to be super heartbroken once it finally does happen. Yeah, a relapse isn't always the end of the world, especially if you just jump right back on the wagon and keep things moving. But it's also crucial to emphasize that it's not something to be taken lightly or something that should be made to be acceptable like Michael's trying to make it with Joey. And so Michael gets his car, he calls one of his buddies, and then he goes back to the halfway house, and he claims he was going to sleep. I highly doubt he was going to sleep. Michael told producers that he does not know how to live life without being high, so that just tells me he was getting high the whole time in prison. And I think he honestly just looked at Joey as like a sugar daddy to support his habit in prison, because since he's been out, he hasn't really seemed to have much use for Joey outside of like driving him around to what he needs to take care of and just when they need a film. And so he sat there and said he doesn't know how to be high, or he doesn't know how to be sober, and he had his car, and that just tells me he probably has his plug on standby waiting for him, and that's why he wants to hurry up and get his car. And so he goes back to the halfway house, acts like he's going to sleep, which I doubt it. And then the next thing you know, it's the next day, and Michael was supposed to come over to Joey's hotel before Joey had to leave. And Joey was hoping that Michael would come a little bit early so they could be intimate. But Michael ends up running late, and Joey was actually like about to have to leave the hotel because it was past his checkout time. But Michael finally came strutting in the hotel, and he's like, yeah, I'm sorry I'm late, but I just need to talk to you real quick. And Joey was like, okay, what's up? And Michael was like, well, I had to go back to the halfway house last night, and I was past curfew. So, of course, like I suspected, he did not go home and go to sleep like he was trying to convince everyone. He went out, and he couldn't even make it home by 10, even though he had his car, which is only your second night, dude. Like, how hard is it to come home by 10 p.m.? So he doesn't make it home in time, and he had to take a UA, and he claims he failed his UA, and now he has to move out of the halfway house and get that all figured out. And since he dropped negative or positive on this drug test, you know they're likely going to send that to his parole officer. And I couldn't tell if he was being serious or not. To me, he looked like he was being serious and like he was really freaking out and trying to get things figured out. But they ended up ending the episode right after that, and I'm like, ugh, this is so annoying, because I don't know if he was being serious or if next week's episode they're going to show him saying that, and then right afterwards he's going to be like, haha, just kidding. But from what I've seen from Michael, I think he's being truthful and that he really relapsed and he just could not wait. The crazy part is that Michael sat there and could have came home before curfew, and if he would have just stayed under the radar and like hid out in his room, then they probably wouldn't even noticed, and that he could have likely not had to take a UA and got away with it. But he had to be late for curfew, which tells me that he is probably up to no good. Like he was probably waiting on the plug too long, or maybe he got too high and was sitting there just tweaking out and ended up being late, because what else would make you not give a damn this much and be willing to risk your freedom within days of being out of prison? For me, I think prison is like summer camp for Michael, and he doesn't mind being there. I mean, he has everything he wants. He has drugs, he has dick. As long as he has people like Joey in his life, he has money on his books, and all his wants and needs are in prison. And I think he's institutionalized, and he's used to the easy life and having everything provided for you and really not having to worry about too much being in prison besides having to watch your back. Like, even if he was by some miracle able to stay out of prison, which we already know he wasn't able to. I don't see him as the type to have structure and get a job, because he's already making excuses for using. He seems like the type to make excuses for a job and be like, oh, I can't work at McDonald's or fast food or any of these jobs that I can actually get with me being a felon. He seems like the type to just be picky and just keep making excuses for things when it comes to that. Michael, I just don't think loves Joey nowhere near as Joey loves him, and he just needs to be honest with Joey so Joey can go find somebody that will actually love him and cherish him and not put him through a constant roller coaster ride of emotions every single day. But like I've said time and time before, I fear that Joey's gonna hold on to Michael as long as he can until it's too late and he has no other choice to hold on to him anymore. Just like Michael is constantly making excuses for himself, Joey is constantly making excuses for Michael. But that is it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.